Wellness Show, episode number 429.
Welcome to the Wellness Show, a podcast on health and wealth. I'm your host, Tyhson Banighen, the founder of the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy. Join me as we get the latest insight, tips, and strategies from wellness providers, coaches, and successful, heart-centered entrepreneurs, and much, much more.
Welcome to the Wellness Show, and today I'm excited to have my good friend Felicia Reed with me today, and today's topic is healing trauma with art. And I have to say right at the get-go is that Felicia Reed is really going to emerge in my world as a really renowned fiber artist. So I'm excited to talk to her, and as you can see, I'm wearing one of her wraps and she's wearing one of hers. But let's start with, who is Felicia Reed? Well, she's a certified life purpose, spiritual and Christian coach, advocate, artist, speaker, quality management professional, and JMMB Roku TV host. Ms. Reed sits on organizational boards and on mastermind teams, one of which I'm included in, that are supporting others in their lives. She works with groups and individuals to promote positive and constructive life changes and healing modalities, primarily using art and nature. Ms. Reed is a survivor of several life-altering traumatic experiences where she firmly believes that natural modalities saved her life. We're going to be talking more about that. Felicia Reed inspires others, especially females, to own their life events, face them, and ultimately heal them to a manageable degree. Ms. Reed is working on an upcoming book and touring as a fiber artist. She is currently on IG at Fiber with Felicia and can be reached at Felicia Reed at putitinperspective.net, and all that information will be in the show notes. Well, welcome, Felicia, to the show.
Tyhson, I'm so happy to be hanging out in the universe with you. Look at us. We're just connected from one coast to the other coast, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We got the West Coast to the East Coast.
Yes, I mean, right on the tips of the coast. So thank you for having me here. Thank you for the co-host and everything that they're doing behind the scenes for us. And where do we start? You know, the universe of me is so large.
Well, you get the whole world in your hands behind you.
I know, right? Duh. Or this way, duh. Yeah, I'm super excited to see you and to be with you in this capacity. Like you said, we work together in different ways, but today is kind of special for just us two, right?
Absolutely, because we get to talk about the things that are really important to us, which is really, you know, dealing with people that have had trauma in their lives and helping them know that, that there's people out there like us that have been down that road and have survived and worked our way through enough that we can turn around and help those that are still struggling.
Yep.
So this is really what the show is all about, is helping you get from where you are to where you want to be in the shortest amount of time. So Felicia, tell me a bit about what happened in your background.
Well, first, 5 years old was the start of abuse. It started with my babysitter's son back in the 60s. And at that time, we weren't taught too much about, you know, inappropriate touches or molestation. It wasn't spoken about that often. People were trying to make it, especially people of color, African Americans were trying to make it, and you just didn't bring that topic up. Mm-hmm. That incident, on top of being in a difficult parental environment. I won't even say it was a family environment. I would say it was a difficult parental environment all my life, and seeing, you know, heavy narcissism, toxicity, abuse, manipulation, you know, having to measure up. And I can't say narcissism enough, narcissistic personality disorders, just really heavy emotional and mental strain. And that would lead into, of course, my adult years. And it seemed as though I became a fixer. I became a fixer of things, and it started early in childhood. I wanted to fix the broken branches on trees. I wanted to fix, I wanted to fix the pebbles in my grandparents' driveway so there would be a straight line, and I just wanted to fix everything because, of course, I took on a persona of a fixer. It's broken, fix it. It's broken, right. Fix it. And that goes on. And into adulthood, I would find myself trying to fix people, especially men. And I was in my 20s, I think. Yes, in my 20s. I'll be 59 this year. So
wow, just about on the big
right?
6-0.
Yeah.
So did that lead to having trying to work this out through relationships with men?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The law of attraction is real. Yeah. Because I had this brokenness in me, probably I take my ownership. I take my part. I tended to gravitate towards broken men that I thought were the best thing since sliced bread.
Right.
And they were abusers. And though that's the type that I attracted, that's the type I wanted to fix. I wanted to help. I felt sorry for them. I thought that I could, give them the world because I was the world. That's what I thought of myself. And it came to
so were they like your dad then?
No.
Oh.
No. They were not like my father. They were not like my mother. They were just men. And I want to say that they were almost sent to me because,
yes, yeah,
everyone has a purpose. And I would encounter a really dark episode of domestic violence that almost, took my life away, and I survived it. It was a brutal episode that I went through, on top of other episodes in that particular relationship that I was able to crawl away from to rebuild my life. And I got out of that and got on, great footing. And then I would later have a son, fantastic, magnificent gift, have a, great relationship with his father as best both of us could. And we separated, and we were not married, so we parted. However, we are best friends, all three of us at this stage. And after that, I would encounter what not probably, but I know what was the worst abuse that I had ever endured throughout all of the relationships that I had had. And the one where I had to fight for my life was not the only one where there was severe abuse. The worst.
There was a lot of repeating patterns.
Yes, there was something in me that needed to heal this attraction. I had to become a non-fixer.
So let's just dwell on the non-fixer just for a sec. So that means if you're in a relationship and you think that you need to be the person with the crazy glue, trying to make all the pieces come together. I know when I was growing up, there wasn't even crazy glue. So I didn't even have the idea that you could glue things together. But I did feel that I was responsible for somehow fixing that. So if you feel that you're responsible for fixing some relationship between your mother and your dad or anybody in your family, then that's where the problem is. You're not here as a fixer-upper. So Felicia, how did you come to the realization that you're not the fixer-upper?
I realized after the last episode at 51, which was the most brutal, that I can't fix this. I'm not a fixer. And it took, it took what, 30, 40 years to figure that out, because it was expected of me to just take it or be the fixer, tolerate it. And at 51, I realized, like, oh my gosh, I cannot fix this. I'm not a fixer. And that's when I started, unconditioning, rewiring the brain, healing from what was done. And of course, reaching back into that fire as a phoenix and pulling others through the same. the same ordeals, or not the same ordeals, because I don't think anybody's been through that, but through their own ordeals. So it took me until I was 51 to realize that I am not a fixer.
Right. Well, I know you had a traumatic experience, really, really traumatic experience on top of all the others that you were just about to talk about, which was really a near-death experience. And I know part of it had to do with electronic harassment. So you just want to maybe touch on that, because I know that there's people listening to this show that are in the midst of all this. And I think it's really encouraging to know that there's somebody who's been there, done that, got the t-shirt and graduated themselves.
Got the trophy.
Yeah, I got the trophy.
I got the trophy. I got, the hero's journey. I got the elixir, or the magic potion at the end of going through what I went through, because it's called wisdom. And electronic harassment is real. It is very, very real. And I went through every spectrum of what is called cyber gang stalking. I uncovered it approximately 9 years ago. It was actually going on before then, but I didn't know it until it showed up as abuse. So as long as I was in the relationship and doing what I was supposed to do and accepting this person or these people, I was safe. I was okay, and it would not be used against me, even though they were cyber stalking. The minute I discover, things start to unfold and uncover themselves, reveal themselves, and I start to question things and try to, put 2 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 together, I uncovered something horrendous. And it was a cyber gang stalking operative that involved my immediate family, the person I was dating, and neighbors. It was expected of me, that fixer energy attraction again, it was expected of me to kind of sort of join in what they were doing in their own lives. And I had been extended offers to get on board with stalking other people or doing other things, even had invitations of human trafficking extended to me. I didn't conform. I didn't go there, and therefore I was severely harmed. It was brutal. There are still signs today of the behaviors and the activities. And not only is it done to me, it's done to other family members who align to my purpose. It's done to friends. It's done to my son. It's done to many people. And this type of abuse was termed as entertainment. Wow. So every electronic that I owned was penetrated.
So was this done because your family was caught up in something that they couldn't get out of?
Yes.
Like an entrapment, and as long as they were playing the game, whatever the game was, they were protected. But as soon as you question the game or the integrity of that, then you come under the attack. Am I getting this right?
Yes. And what I uncovered was over a 20-year pattern in my own family of stalking through encryption that I didn't know existed. And I guess I was the one that shouldn't know, because I probably would have said something, hey, this is not right. We don't need to be, tapping people's phones or getting in their electronics, as family. And what's going on? Can we get some help? I would have been the fixer, right?
Yeah.
To try to fix it. But, people were so deep into it that it would be up to them to fix it. But the behaviors included, a home invasion, devices being planted in my car, on my wood line, my router taken over. I would be put in DOS, which is denial of service. I had spyware, key logging, and malware, and key logging software and malware installed on every device, including my cell phones. There would be days, early on in the stalking, the gang stalking, where my son would be trying to do his homework and the router would be held hostage. We were followed. We had cars sitting out in front of our home. We were approached by strangers with our information. People would be sent to my work to wait for me in the parking lot. I was put in a system where individuals were asked to join in to be a part of the cyber gang stalking. And behind that is incredible negativity. So I was tormented through, I call it cyber rape. I really do.
Yeah. So there was, and also you had house invasion on top of this as well, right?
I had a home invasion involving neighbors and an ex who staged my home for revenge porn purposes, where pictures and videos were taken and I would be superimposed in my own setting as partaking in behaviors that were not me, pictures that were not me, but my image, my face was used, that was circulated in revenge porn sites. I found my contact information in porn sites. Everything that I said and did around my home was recorded and amplified. My bank account was penetrated. My identity was stolen.
So what was the overall agenda, do you think? Was it human trafficking, or what was the reason behind all this? Or it certainly wasn't just getting your jollies off. There must have been under contract to something bigger than all the participants in this. Do you have any inkling about what that was?
Each person seemed to have their own motive. With my family, it was part of a generational dysfunction.
Right. But I mean, if you get people to do this, to do gang stalking, it's usually part of a bigger agenda. They're like the little fish. There's always a bigger fish.
Yes.
That's managing the little fish. So I was just wondering whether you had any inkling about what the larger fish were.
I was extended an invitation to join in human trafficking.
Right. Okay, that was it. Right?
The invitations were presented to me where my bills would be paid. I would have pretty dresses because I love dresses, or I did at that time. I would have meals. I would have trips. It was constantly presented to me for about 3 years in different ways. And I was totally oblivious as to what was going on. I was being groomed.
Yeah.
I had things taped to my door. I had things left for me. I entrusted a neighbor with the access to my home as a handyman. He would be the one that I found out was a key participant. And since I didn't give in to him, almost come to work for him and be with him, he was very interested in me, but I was only neighborly friendly with him. He gave me 3 years to conform. I did not conform. I was therefore, in his mind, a threat. And I didn't even know what was going on around me. I was totally oblivious.
Right. Yeah, as soon as you don't comply, then you become a threat. So how did you do the big turnaround? How did you say, okay, I'm not going to do this? And then that's one thing. But then how did you how did you learn how to protect yourself and be able to get out of this craziness?
Well, my mother was torn between, I've got to help your brother who's in this, and I've got to kind of sort of help you as well. So even though my family was involved, they would come over to my home and tell me things that this group was doing. And it became a cat and mouse. It's a game to them in their mind. The abuse is a game. My mother would tell me things. And, even at one point I was asked to give in or else by my mother. And I just said, I don't know what this is. It was all happening around me and I didn't know what it was. So I had to go to school. I became so knowledgeable about cyber abuse, narcissism, from grooming to triangulation to love bombing to mirroring to the types of devices that are being used against, regular citizens and residents and humans, just regular people.
Right.
I became this walking protege of genius level cyber terminology, because when I first uncovered it, I couldn't explain it, and I was babbling, and it didn't help me because people didn't believe me. They're like, "What are you talking about? Are you feeling okay? Your family,
Right.
your neighborhood, your home."
Yeah.
They
make you look crazy.
Yes,
and people need to know, like Felicia has worked for NASA, so this is not just some girl down the block. This is a pretty smart cookie. So, to get that intelligence of who you are and the wisdom of who you are, and get you to almost the babbling person who can't even know their own name.
Yeah,
that is really a lot of harassment. So, how did you make this turnaround? What?
Tyhson, by the grace of God.
Yeah, there you go.
By the grace of God.
Yeah.
I want to get emotional, but
yeah.
He has been really, really busy in me. And for those who do not know God is God, higher power, other divine, or whatever that energy as, it was a huge force, the only force in me being here today. I almost lost my life.
Yes.
I came into incredible losses that are still taking place. And I watched it greatly impact my son and my friends and my father and other family members as well, and my neighborhood. I watched it deteriorate our neighborhood. So by the grace of God and getting up like out of bed at 3 a.m. because I was called to pray or called to go sit in a church parking lot,
right,
and say, leave it with Him. By the grace of God, I was able to stay alive.
So basically, you had to really learn how to follow your intuition, because all the craziness on the human level was telling you that you need to do A, B, C, or D, and you had to go inward and find your guidance from source or from God and follow it by the letter in order to free yourself. Did I get that right?
Yep. I had to do energy healing.
Yeah.
And not only healing on myself, but my home had to be healed. I mean, it was violated in a horrendous way. And of course, keeping my son, who was 13 at the time, and he'll be 22 this year, but he was 13 when my mother and my brother decided to graphically, cyberly attack us.
Wow.
And they did not care about his development, his well-being, or even my life, because it was very playful with the psyche. And you walk around and you tell people, my phone's watching me, my router's not working, my alarm system's going off by itself. I've got devices in my car. I've got people coming by my house and sitting and scanning my credit cards and my magnetic data. They're looking at me like, she's been watching too much television, and I don't watch TV. No, it was real. I documented it. I kept a journal. I talked to CIA experts, ex-CIA off agents, and I learned. I partnered with IT professionals, and once I started to go down that path of learning that this stuff was real, I'm like, holy crap, that's exactly what's happening to me. So they picked a green one who knew nothing about this.
Yeah, but they picked a smart one, and they weren't very smart about that because you did your homework, right?
Through the grace of God.
Yeah.
He led me to the information that I needed. I started to speak up. I did not change my truth. I did not stop telling people and explaining, look, I'm under cyber attack. Every electronic is penetrated. I didn't stop. It cost me dearly, but I just didn't stop speaking the truth.
Well, that's wonderful. So how did the healing wrap? So now let's turn the corner. So how did the healing wrap come on board? I mean, I remember you coming and staying with us, and you were in the midst of writing your little book on healing wraps.
Yes. So one of my constant prayers, one thing I want to mention, Tyson, and you know this, is that when you go into deep healing, being regimented is very, very effective. It changes the rhythm of the trauma. It changes the rhythm of the healing. It changes things. And being regimented makes a huge difference. So one of my regiments, one of my things to do in my regiment was to pray at certain times, or any given time it popped up that I need to pray. So prayer and getting to where the healing wraps come from, they were actually an answer to a constant prayer where I asked God, dear God, please wrap me in your love and protection.
Oh, I love that. Wrap me in your love and protection.
I have it written down. It was a constant 24/7 thing that I would say. I just called on him so much because I knew that that's how dark the darkness was. And literally one day, years ago, while this was going on, I received an email from a place, an art place here on the East Coast that I'm not a member of. I don't know how I got, well, I do know how I got it, but in human form, I don't know how I got it. Right. I don't know how I got it. It was an invitation to take a felting class. And I knew about felting, but I did not know about this particular felting. And there was a picture of a beautiful wrap. And I just was so taken by it. And I'm like, I've been praying to be wrapped in love and protection. So I signed up for the class, and I actually went to the class a week early. I showed up ready. My energy was ready. It's like, ooh, this is going to be good. And I had to come back the next week. During that class, something started to happen, and the teacher recognized it, and she asked me, she's like, have you ever done this before? I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I've never done this before. And she says, this was in you all along, and you just came here to get it out. And this is a gift. And I said, I received that. And she said, are you very spiritual? And I'm like, heck yeah, right now I'm real spiritual.
That's how I survived.
Yes, that's how I survived, off of my spirituality and belief, my faith. And you know that because one of my favorite prayer, of course, is the Lord's Prayer, and it has great rhythmic healing too. I walked out. I was done after like an hour. I was done. And I walked out of class that day, and I had my first wrap. I set up an area in my home where I could felt, because I received healing through felting. It was the touching of the fibers, the working with the silk, and all that, of course, it comes from nature. It's all natural materials where animals have grazed, pooped on, peed on, laid on. The fibers are so energetic. They're taken in, the animals are taken in nature. They're being sheared. Then I'm working with that energy. And I made a couple of wraps, and then, believe it or not, images started to appear in the wraps. And this is one of the reasons why I don't plan my wraps, the design. I do no planning of design. Everything is intuitive. Images started showing up, and I went, oh my gosh, that's a face. Oh my gosh, that's a butterfly. Oh my gosh, that's the moon. Oh my gosh, this looks like me. That's an angel. And, my son would hear me in this sacred space that I set up. And I sat down. I can remember I sat down at my felting table, and I said, God, whatever you are using me for, I received this, and I welcome this. And thank you, by the way, for wrapping me in your love and protection. And I just started felting. And that was about 6-7 years ago, maybe. And
wow. So how did the essences come in? Because you're the essence lady.
Yeah. So of course, essential oils and herbs and things out of my woods became the other modality that I would use to heal by. I did huge olfactory healing, which is straight up the nose, right to the brain, because I knew that I had to rewire my brain from the heavy trauma. I knew that I was being traumatized, electronic warfare, mental abuse, emotional abuse, generational curse abuse, physical abuse, because I would later reflect back on the relationship that I had with the person that was involved with my family and the neighbor, and realized that it was sexual abuse. It was not a relationship, and I was being set up all along, to be taken advantage of.
Right.
So lots of work, but the essences came in, and I started to use different resins and different oils in the wraps. And they became part of the package. I work with Sacred Smoke. I had my studio area magnetically aligned and cleared and blessed and prayed over and asked, God and those that help me, please let me do this work. It's important. And I just started making wraps, and I just started wrapping everybody that I came in contact with in a wrap.
So you're a rapper.
I'm a rapper. I'm not a fixer. I'm a rapper. Yes. And, they have done amazing things. They're on exhibits, in exhibits. I've won awards. They're highly sought after for helping with healing, because now we understand how important it is to swaddle up. You're swaddled and I'm swaddled. We got to protect our, our chakra line, our energy line. And they are popular with males and females, especially women going through trauma, going through abuse, going through chemo, going through grief, going through transitions. And this is what I teach as a coach. Wrap up, protect yourself.
Yeah, and mine is even, not only is it a wrap, but it's almost a coat. It's a pretty big one. And I use it for ceremonial purposes too. I mean, it's been in, it's got all the colors of the river.
Yeah.
And used for water blessings as well. So it's a ceremonial wrap as well. It's like, it reminds me of in the Bible of, the coat of many colors. It reminds me of the concept of the robes, or cloaking girthing one's loins, right?
Yes.
It has all the biblical symbology to when you put on the prayer shawl or you use the prayer shawl, that you're connected with source or with God. So there's a lot of multiple layers to this that we've sort of let fall away in our culture, that we've forgotten that's how powerful this can be, right?
Yes, we have forgotten about covering up with God, or whatever your higher power is. We have forgotten about protecting our auras and our energy fields and our chakras. And, even in the summertime, my wraps go to the beach, to the grocery store, to the theaters when we could get in the theaters, cold offices, doctor's appointments. Most people that see me when I'm out and I don't have a wrap, they're like, oh, where's your wrap? You're not in a wrap. Where's your wrap? You're not even carrying it. Because they want to see which one I'm working with at that time. And they do amazing things. And people will grab my purse and get my wrap out, and they just want to be in it because the energy is amazing. So that's the intent that I set for the wraps. This is God's work through me as an instrument and a vessel. And they are made intuitively. So like you, Tyhson, you contacted me and you said, I want a wrap. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you want this wrap to represent? What do you want to feel? And you mentioned water and the earth. And, so when I tap in, which is healer talk, when I tap in, everything in my studio is shut down. There's no sound. There's only sacred smoke. If anything, I might have a little zen going if it's, if I feel like I need some background, but 90% of the time it's complete quiet. And for those that don't know felting, it's actually wool roving, laid almost hair strand by hair strand on a piece of wool that then on a piece of silk that is then hand agitated. It's an ancient Mongolian technique from thousands of years ago. And you don't find too many people that wet felt because it's not an easy process. You have very little control of the fibers. It's time consuming. Could be a little messy if you don't have the right setup. And it's mental because you have to concentrate on where those fibers are going. So each wrap is unique, and it is an energy transfer of prayer with every strand. God bless Tyhson. God bless him. Bring abundance, because I'm also talking to the fibers, like, just stay where you are, just don't move, just do what you're supposed to do, get along. So it's a huge energetic healing modality using art.
Wow. And that's really what your message is that really healing through art. You're really encouraging people to bring out that artistic part of themselves, because that's really what's going to not only heal us individually, but heal us on the planetary level as well.
Exactly. And like I said, right now, so last year I was in about 18 exhibits. I did bring home some awards and some ribbons just for the wraps being on display. And that's usually how I enter them into the galleries and the forms that they're into. They go in a huge shadow box frame to protect them, and they go on display. And I have actually been in some of the galleries and witnessed people saying, I just want to take it out of the frame and put it on. And they don't know I'm the artist. I'm standing there listening to the critique of my work. And I watch people just fall into the energy of the wraps. And when I am in an open space where I am on exhibit in a tabletop setting, maybe, and I've got wraps around me, and people just come and grab them and they start putting them on. And, I have seen instant healing releases. One woman said, I'm just gonna take this wrap and I'm gonna go home and I'm filing for divorce, or I'm going to go home and I'm going to reconcile with something in myself. But I have seen instant healing. And then I have seen people that say, that come back several times because they're drawn to the energy. And it's just great. It's just a great transfer, especially using the art. And I have actually been in some settings where I wasn't working as an artist, a speaker, or coach. And I've had my wrap and someone went into distress emotionally, and I could scent it with a little lavender or something unknown to them and say, can I put you in my wrap? And watch them reset. So they're doing amazing things, and I'm just so happy to be. I don't own them. I don't own this. I don't. This. It's just all something greater than me.
You. It flows through you.
Yeah.
So how do people get a magical wrap for themselves?
I work one-on-one with individuals where I don't have, where I'm not on display and I just have a random assortment, which is rare these days, of course, because of the opportunity that we're in. I usually have several conversations as part of my coaching. I don't need too much information. I don't need the details. I just want to know, what is the intent that you want to set? What do you want to feel? What do you want to work on? What are some colors that resonate with you? Is it for you or someone else? And we go from there, and you will be surprised what comes out of it. I mean, a lot of people, one, they say, I want to feel better. And I'm like, well, what does that feel to you? What does feeling better feel like to you? And so we do that, what I call 5 why drill down. And we get to, I want to heal my childhood trauma. Well, what was your favorite color in your childhood? What are some things that remind you of your childhood that made you feel good? And we go from there.
Wow, that's wonderful. And along with this is your coaching, right? So does some of the wraps come out of your coaching, or does the coaching come with the wraps, or both?
Both. Yeah. I mean, there's a wrap, if you just want a phone call and a session so that I can understand how to, so that how can I say this? So that I can intuitively understand how, what it is you want to work on, and I can craft.
Right.
There's a phone call, and then there's, coaching where there's a couple sessions and it comes out. So I don't force the raps. I just don't. They're not like something I don't want to say sell, but I don't push them.
Yeah.
They speak for themselves. All I have to do is show up, and it's like, give me, I need that. So I let them do what they're supposed to do. I keep them, very sacred. I select the settings that they're displayed in carefully. If the energy's not right, it's not for me, and that's not a bad thing. It's just not for me.
Right.
So I'm very particular about, maintaining the intent that came through the gift of being asked to be wrapped in healing and protection from my source.
Wow. So we're near the end of the show here, and we could talk for the rest of our lives, which we are going to do, because
I miss you so much.
We are great friends. So, and I think, one of the main things reason I wanted you on this show is, while I love you, but also I really want the people out there that are experiencing electronic harassment and craziness to know that there are people that have gotten through this and got to the other side, and that there is hope. There is a community of people that can help you, like Felicia, that can really help you heal on the other side. And I think that's really important to put that out now. I know electronic surveillance and electronic harassment is increasing worldwide. I think is crazy. And also the whole aspect about human trafficking is starting to come out into the public awareness. And so we just want to provide a way in which people know that there's hope and there's gold at the end of the rainbow, beautiful wraps of grapes. And that's what we want to. So how would you like to wrap this up, Felicia? What would be the last words you'd like to say?
I want to encourage anyone who is going through anything or overcoming anything to go inside, pray, meditate, work it out on the inside. When we change on the inside, things on the outside change. I encourage people to please speak up. I was a lone ranger out there speaking up, about craziness, but I did it. I encourage you to reach out to people like myself who have gone through it. Don't be afraid. I'm not judging you. I'm a regular person. I'm not some Hollywood starlet that the paparazzi's after. I'm a regular person that has gone through this. And I encourage people to, if they encounter anyone that says, I'm being stalked, take it seriously. I was not believed. I was discredited. And it prevented me from getting, of course, resources and help. And I just want to ask the world to please heal. Just please heal yourself.
Right.
Heal.
Yeah, the planetary change and transformation we want, the new earth, really begins when healing ourselves, right? Learning how to love ourselves unconditionally. And sometimes that's very, very difficult, right?
Yes.
So if you want to begin the journey with Felicia, please do so. How to get hold of her is in the show notes. If you want the journey to take back your personal power, stand in your truth, there's a link to what is called the Deep Clearing Protocol. It's a 21-day program to take back your personal power and stand in your truth. But don't do this alone. This takes community. And we really, really advise you to find like-minded people. And Felicia has a whole tribe of people that have been through this. And she's here ready and able to support you. I do the same type of work. So Felicia, thank you for being on the show. It was a pleasure to have you. Blessings to you and your work. And let's go forth and change the world.
Change the world. Thank you. Thank you so much. All righty.
All right. Bye for now, everybody.
For quality online wellness products, courses, and services, visit our sponsors, thewellnessstore.ca and the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy located at thewellnessacademy.ca. To stay in touch, visit us at thewellnessshow.ca. And until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.